Hey, what up? This is my Ring of Honor DVD review of ROH's Fueling the Fire. The show was the show they had the night before Death Before Dishonor 6 back on August 1st, 2008. The first matchup was the Briscoe brothers, Jay and Mark Briscoe, versus Sweet and Sour Incorporated of Adam Pearce and Shane Hagadorn. This was pretty much a very lackluster, a mediocre opener. Pretty much this was just to pretty much get the Briscoes back. Their first couple matches back in Ring of Honor as a team after New Horizons and this show and Death Before Dishonor 6, pretty much, opener matches, lower card matches to somewhat, build them up for their return after, Mark Briscoe suffered his injury. Obviously, the Briscoes were highly over with the crowd in Manassas, Virginia. The Briscoes are pretty much one of those tag teams that are pretty much over wherever they go, and especially when you got Adam Pearce on the other side. No matter who you are, whether you're someone to even hate it, you're obviously going to get cheered because you're taking going against Adam Pearce and Shane Hagadorn. But like I said, pretty much a mediocre opener. The Briscoes pick up the victory after hitting the Doomsday Device to Shane Hagadorn. Jay Briscoe pins him for the victory in a 1 3/4 star match. Then after this, you got Rhett Sterling versus Pelle, Primeau, and God. This was a match that shouldn't have been on this DVD at all. This was a god-awful match, and I'm not blaming it on Pelle Primeau because Pelle is actually one of the very few students I actually will give credit to and say that he's actually an okay student and actually worthy of being on the show. Rhett Sterling, he was pretty much on this show because this show was in Manassas, Virginia, and he's kind of a local talent around here. He's from North Carolina, so obviously they had to, whenever they go in a market, in a new market or a market they haven't been in that often, they're obviously going to have, at least one or two, local stars or stars around that area, showcase on the show. And that was pretty much what this was. Pelle picks the victory out. Pretty quick match with a roll-up and a one-star match. Easily the worst match of the night. On here, Rhett Sterling just completely bored the shit out of me in this match. Then the next matchup was Rhett Titus versus Delirious. Now this was their actually first one-on-one meeting against each other after, the months of Rhett Titus always interfering Delirious when he's trying to ask Daisy Hayes out on a date. This was actually, like I said, their first one-on-one encounter. And obviously Daisy Hayes was out there. And at one point in this match, they did something where Delirious and Daisy Hayes were outside the ring. And Daisy Hayes was pretty much going for Delirious in this match. And at one point, I guess they were kind of near each other, and Rhett Titus tried to almost do a dive out to the floor onto Delirious at the same time, which would have knocked Daisy Hayes down. And I guess Rhett Titus wanted to do something where to blame Delirious for, hurting Daisy Hayes, something like that. You saw a couple spots like that, and the one thing that you obviously knew this match wasn't going to deliver was the match quality of it. Rhett Titus is one of those guys that's kind of like Ring of Honor's equivalent of WWE's Santino Marella, where he's very charismatic, he's good on the mic, but as soon as the bell rings and the match starts, he's completely terrible, and he's almost completely lost. Delirious tried his best to make the match at least okay or at least watchable, which that I would at least say it was at least a watchable match. Delirious beats Rhett Titus when Rhett Titus taps out of the Cobra Stretch in a 1 3/4 star match. Then the next matchup was, this was kind of when the show started to somewhat pick up a little, which was Necro Butcher versus Roderick Strong. And just like any Necro Butcher match, even though it's not intended or called a no DQ match or a relaxed rules match or any type of stipulation like that, you're obviously going to get, a pretty much anything goes match whenever Necro Butcher's involved. That's one thing, obviously, since I haven't seen any of the shows with after Gabe has gone from being the booker and Adam Pearce the booker, I wonder if they do the same thing with Necro Butcher now, or do they actually, kind of enforce his matches a little more, which I kind of think they kind of need to, because it kind of gets ridiculous after some points. But you saw some good stuff in here. Obviously, with both of these being pretty stiff workers, you obviously saw some, stiff chops from Roderick Strong in this match, some good stuff from Necro Butcher. These two pretty much work pretty good with each other. Roderick Strong picks up the victory after hitting the Gibson driver in a 2 3/4 star match. Then the next matchup was the match of the night, and pretty much this match and the main event was pretty much the matches of this night that at least made this show into a pretty much average Ring of Honor show. And this was an incredible match. It was the Motor City Machine Guns of Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin versus Bryan Danielson and Austin Aries. Just like you'd expect, a lot of great stuff in here. Everyone obviously has past Ring of Honor feuds or whatever with each other. Obviously, with Austin Aries and Alex Shelley both being former members and former rivals. Former members, like I said, of the Generation Next stable. Chris Sabin, obviously, he's worked very good with both Austin Aries and Bryan Danielson. Alex Shelley and Bryan Danielson had an incredible match. Can't remember the name of the event off the top of my head, but it was back in March of 2006, and that was an incredible match they had. So you expected this to be a great match, and it was very good. At first, it ended in a 20-minute time limit draw, and then after this, obviously, the fans wanted 5 more minutes. The fans did get what they wanted. They got 5 more minutes, and within the last 5 minutes of this match, they did a lot of stuff in the last 5 minutes that really didn't really, the match was great already, but the last 5 minutes really, probably helped this match out even more. And you saw a lot of good counters and reversals, especially the end of this match ends in another time limit draw. So the match officially, neither team wins, and it ends after 20-minute draw. Then they get another 5 minutes. Then it ends another draw. But the last couple seconds of the match was incredible. It was reversals of Austin Aries and Alex Shelley were in the ring together, and they both were reversing the Border City Stretch. Austin Aries was reversing into the Last Chancery. Then the Last Chancery was getting reversed into the Border City Stretch. A lot of excellent stuff in this match. Good mat work. Got good submission stuff. Everything was good about this match. 4 1/4 star. Then after the match with Austin Aries and Alex Shelley in the ring, the Age of the Fall of Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black come out there, beat them down. Then Danielson and Sabin make the save. Then after this, Alex Shelley pretty much, not Alex Shelley, but Austin Aries gets on the mic, pretty much tries to mend the fences, with former rival Alex Shelley, and wants to extend his hand, shake his hand. Austin Aries, not Austin Aries, but Alex Shelley refuses and walks to the back. And this kind of leads to something later on in the show. Like I said, 4 1/4 stars in the best match of the night. Then the next matchup was Chris Hero versus Brent Albright. And this was somewhat of a subpar match. It was kind of lackluster. It wasn't a terrible match, but I was expecting a little more from it, especially with Brent Albright. Brent Albright did get in his stuff, a lot of good power maneuvers from him. Obviously, Chris Hero doing the young knockout kid gimmick, which is a god-awful gimmick. Wish they found something else to do with him. I'm kind of glad he's not doing the comical stuff anymore, even though I did find that enjoyable, but it was starting to get boring. So I understand why they're doing something new with his character, but I wish they would try to figure something out other than this young knockout kid gimmick, because it's completely ridiculous. The one thing that does kind of help it a little bit is Larry Sweeney, being such a great heel manager and being great on the mic. He kind of sells it in a fashion where you just want to hate Chris Hero, and he does, a good job there, I gotta say. And Brent Albright picks the victory up after hitting the half Nelson suplex to Chris Hero in a 2.5 star match. Then post match, you see Adam Pearce come out here, and you see Adam Pearce and Brent Albright brawling outside the ring, brawling to the back. And this is pretty much building up to the match they had the following night on Death Before Dishonor 6 against each other for the NWA Heavyweight title. And then the next matchup was Ruckus versus Nigel McGuinness for the ROH World title. And this is actually one of those examples that it's okay not to have the Ring of Honor World title when you got a match like this. Not saying that Ruckus is bad, but I don't think anyone would, look at, say if you look at a card and you see Ruckus main eventing on a Ring of Honor show, even though I know he did some good stuff in Combat Zone as far as Combat Zone heavyweight champion, but it's kind of different in Ring of Honor, I would say. I mean, I don't think anyone would take him serious being in the main event. I think he's okay, doing his stuff with Jigsaw or doing whatever he does in the mid-card, and he's definitely not worthy of being in the main event. But I got to give Ring of Honor one thing. In this match, they at least booked it in a way where it made it at least seem like Ruckus was okay and worthy to be in there with Nigel McGuinness. They did do it like that. It wasn't a complete squash match, but it was a lot of domination. Nigel McGuinness was very dominant during the match against Ruckus, so you saw that. Ruckus did kick out of a lot of maneuvers from Nigel McGuinness, so he did take a lot of stuff from Nigel McGuinness kick out, and did seem a little believable in some portions that he might have won, but obviously everyone knew, and everyone there knew that would never happen, though. But it was, at least an okay to average ROH World Title match and a 2 3/4 star match. Then the next matchup, like I said, this match and the previous match, which was the Motor City Machine Guns versus Bryan Danielson and Austin Aries match. That match in this main event with Go Shiozaki and Naomichi Marufuji teaming up, Team of Noah versus the ROH World Tag Team Champions of Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black at the Age of the Fall, and for the ROH World Tag Team titles. And a lot of good stuff in this match. The one thing about this match was that probably might hurt the match in some people's eyes was it kind of started off slow, but the good portion was that within the middle of the match and all the way to the end, it started really building up, and they definitely did a lot of good stuff at the end of the match. Obviously, they did the typical thing they do in a lot of matches involving the Noah competitors, or a lot of Ring of Honor matches in general, as far as tag team matches, where they do something where all the wrestlers get knocked down at one point. They did it where I remember they did it with Goshi. I think Marufuji was in the end time from Jimmy Jacobs, and then at that point, Go Shiozaki came in the ring and super kicked Jimmy Jacobs, so Jimmy Jacobs was knocked down. Then Tyler Black came in there, did a springboard dive onto Go Shiozaki. Then after that, Marufuji super kicked Tyler Black, and pretty much after being out of the end time, pretty much he passes out, falls down, so all of them are knocked down. And definitely a good ending of this match. Tyler Black hits the Phoenix Splash for the victory by pinning Go Shiozaki in a 3.5 star match. So since I did enjoy the main event, actually after the main event, you got a little something that was kind of interesting, and this was Alex Shelley came out there. He attacked the Age of the Fall of Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black, pretty much paying them back for what they did to him earlier. Then after that, after he beat them down for a little bit, Tyler Black and Jimmy Jacobs then beat him down. So while he was getting beat down, Austin Aries made the save, came out there, helped Alex Shelley, and then the show ends pretty much with Alex Shelley and Austin Aries in the ring, and pretty much kind of leading to what they did earlier in the show, where Alex Shelley first refused to shake the hand of Austin Aries, and he shook the hand of Austin Aries, pretty much now showing that he has respect for Austin Aries once again, and definitely a good way to end the show. And a lot of good comical mic work for the end of the show from Alex Shelley. So overall, I would say pretty, an average show at best. I would give it a 7 out of 10, because I did enjoy, like I said, the main event in the Bryan Danielson Austin Aries versus Motor City Machine Guns match. But other than that, it was pretty much, I guess, at least, pretty much a lackluster show. But you kind of expect that in some cases most of the time when they got, big shows the following night, the Hammerstein Ballroom shows, or, Chicago Ridge shows. You kind of expect a lot of times the Friday show, the night before the big show, you're obviously not going to get the top-level caliber show that you're going to get the following night. You kind of get, somewhat build-up, or, that's what a lot of people would refer to as a, B-rated show. Now, that was what this kind of was, but you saw some, 2 great matches on here. So, like I said, 7 out of 10. Not a show I'd recommend unless, you really want to see the Motor City Machine Guns versus Bryan Danielson and Austin Aries match. And the main event was pretty good as well. And, yeah, that's it. Peace.